Hey everyone, it's OSK, and we have to talk about the state of Naraka Bladepoint. If you want a quick summary, personally, I'm having a lot of fun with the game still, but there are a few issues that I'd like to highlight in this video, and I think it'll ring true for a lot of people watching. Seriously, Naraka is a fantastically enjoyable game, and I have a lot of fun with it, but there are a few issues that I see that are plaguing the game right now and driving newer players away, which at the end of the day is pretty much the life and blood of any new game out there. So I figured I'd make this video and just kind of drop my opinions on it, and we'll also be answering the question, is Naraka Bladepoint dying? So we're going to get into all that. This video is going to be more unscripted. It's just going to be straight from the top of my head. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We're going to go over 5 problems with Naraka Bladepoint, and is Naraka Bladepoint dying? Without further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling. The first problem I want to go over is ping and VPN issues. Currently, players can region hop at will within the game with no repercussions, including showing up on the leaderboards. If you're good enough on different regions with no repercussions, you can do this in the title screen by simply selecting a different region with a different ping. But there's also the VPN issue, and if you've been playing in the West for any amount of time, you may have noticed that there's plenty of Chinese players that like to get on our servers and proceed to dominate quick play and ranked games, and it seems kind of jarring whenever you first encounter it. And you'll also notice that they aren't really indicated as being from Asia or anything. All it is Chinese characters, and they're on our server, and this is done by creating an account that is based in North America by use of VPN. And while VPN may lower your regional ping by masking what your true ping to the VPN is and then having the VPN server and you're in that home region, it does still have a few issues with it, including the most glaring issue would be to parry timing, but there's other things than that as well. Personally, from seeing a lot of posts in my own comment section and also on Reddit and in general chat, a lot of players will get killed by a Chinese player and it will really put them off. It may not even be that the fight was bad to begin with, but just the fact that players are able to region hop and say go to a different server for a quote-unquote easier experience against newer players, it's very jarring for them, especially when they're learning the game, and it makes it seem like the game has really bad internal issues when it may not even be the biggest issue at all. So even if it's not a real issue, it's not a tangible issue, like say it's not affecting gameplay per se, just the perception of it is a problem in and of itself because it drives newer players away. And I think that implementing some sort of block on VPNs and also finding the South American players who are being routed to North America, they need their own server too, and it's not an easy thing to do. And Special Superhero actually had a great video on this on his State of Naraka Bladepoint video 1 month later. It may be that 24 Entertainment is not able to implement a solution quite yet, because that would then bar South American players from playing the game at all, which would be an awful thing. But it still is a problem that needs to be addressed. I personally know that there was a meeting about 2 weeks ago for 24 Entertainment where they were heavily discussing how to deal with VPNs. It's not the easiest thing to do in the world, but for a lot of players it is a game-ruining experience, and it is a problem that I hope gets fixed soon. Alright, for problem number 2, this one's a bit easier to take care of. Weapon and character balancing. Currently, if you saw my recent tier list video, you should definitely go check out. And a lot of other tier lists are actually coming out now that I'm making this video and seeing them pop up. The longsword has a few issues with it. So, toothpicking, as everyone knows, is a very low skill, and it's also unfun to play against. And this could be just the perception of the animation where you get stunned and aren't able to really do anything. Your character just sort of stands still and staggers as if they lost the ability to walk or run, and then you just get easy comboed into an uppercut and LMB aerial combo pretty easily. Personally, I think it's a little bit too safe, and I think that the damage there is just too free. And this kind of pairs into the focus attack as well, because the focus attack is also too safe. Whereas if you are at a long enough range and your focus attack gets parried, you can literally just dodge out of the way of it, and it's the easiest thing to dodge in the world. So that in and of itself is really safe, and sometimes it even bugs out to where it won't even parry your attack, so that's an issue in and of itself. And also, going into the Greatsword. The Greatsword is known as the Noob Smasher because no new players know how to deal with it, and I think personally that that is a problem. I think that the Greatsword does have an easier time against newer players because Stone Form is just such an oppressive thing to try to get past. It blocks, I think it blocks all damage. It might have a little bit of damage go through, but the greatsword in general just has so much damage. You could try to focus attack through an aerial greatsword attack and it'll still shave off about 500 health towards the end game where people have purple and golden greatswords, and it's just really it's not very fun to play against, especially if you're a newer player and you don't really know what you're doing. So I think that could be tweaked on the lower end. I don't think greatsword really should be at the higher end of play personally. I'm of the opinion that it shouldn't really have any combos just because the damage is just so freaking big. And I think it could be reworked into something that is noob friendly, but not necessarily noob punishing. So hopefully that gets addressed in some way. And of course, I don't really need to talk about Matari. She has no disadvantage state. She's really easy to play in Battle Royale. Most of the top players who are top of the leaderboard play it, and it's really just Naraka Bladepoint on easy mode. It's really annoying to play against. And yeah, I think something needs to be done to her. Not really sure what it could be, but there needs to be some sort of balance, especially for the solo level of play. The third problem I see is barrier to entry, and this is mainly just me harping on the buy-to-play system. Now, initially, buy-to-play I didn't really have a problem with it, but the way that the game is monetized currently is you buy that initial price point of $20, which is $20 is pretty good, but then you have the gacha system of the crates, which obviously nobody likes. Of course, it is cosmetic, but the rates that you get out of the crates are just ridiculous. So I think that draws a lot of players away just on the surface, like especially if you're a kid and you don't really have money of your own and you see this price tag of $20, you can't play it immediately. That in and of itself, that small barrier to entry actually has a really big effect. So personally, I'm at the point where yes, I do know that console release is coming out, and that's going to do wonders for our player base, especially in the West, but I think that at some point, you got to make the game free to play to get as many people in here, because it's getting a little old seeing some of the same names in my matches, even in quick play sometimes, and I think that, honestly, it kind of just needs to open up. Maybe you don't go full buy-to-play, maybe, I don't know, but personally, having a price tag on it just from the onset, it does drive players away in some way, shape, or form. And whether you like to admit it or not, it is kind of a problem. Also, barrier to entry, we're going to talk about the glyphs. The glyphs I've never liked. I've never liked the system where the more you play, the more glyphs you get, the more advantage you get in your games. This just incentivizes you to play for a long period of time, which I guess is a good thing for the game itself and for 24 Entertainment's wallet. But from the player's perspective, if you're just getting in and you see a guy's like level 46, he's got all his glyphs and you don't, it feels very unfair. And I think that glyphs can just be reworked to be a loadout system. Also, some glyphs, like energy glyphs, are just necessary to play at higher level play. There's certain dashes that you can do a certain number of times to where if you're a brand new player, there's no way you're going to have the same movement as someone who's been playing for like a month. There's no feasible way because you don't have the same energy pool. So I think that the energy system just needs to be a base system in the game. I think we need to get rid of luck, and I think we need to start getting a little bit more creative with our glyphs and make it a loadout system that is not earned with player level. Make it something that everybody can pick between, okay, I want a Rift Dealer discount, I want a little bit of extra damage on my weapons or a little bit of extra defense. I want a little bit of extra rage, and I can choose between those maybe three different categories. If you watch me from Spellbreak has a talent system, and I think that glyphs can work in that way, but not necessarily to where they need to be earned by playing the game as much. The fourth problem I have with the game, and this is more of a perception thing, but also there's some tangible problems that need to be addressed. The Battle Royale mode. Look, you've heard it a time or two. If someone sees that a game is Battle Royale, they will just automatically discount it as not wanting to play it because it's Battle Royale, and players are just tired of the genre, I guess, or at least most players that I see on Twitter are. The fact that the game is mainly marketed as a Battle Royale, first of all, let me just get this out of the way. The Battle Royale mode in Naraka Bladepoint is one of the best Battle Royale modes that I've played in any Battle Royale game. I think for being a Battle Royale, it does it very, very well. And I personally enjoy it. It's in my top 5 Battle Royales currently, regardless of population or anything like that. I think the Battle Royale is done really well. But that being said, it's still Battle Royale, and it incentivizes certain ways to play that is not very fun for a lot of players in the game, especially with a combat system like Naraka Bladepoint. There's some problems that can arise with the Battle Royale mode. Everybody knows that the fighting in this game is the reason why you play, and the fact that the Battle Royale mode rewards third parties and also incentivizes downtime with ratting until the final circles, that is a problem for Naraka Bladepoint. And I think that this can be remedied by just introducing a different game mode other than Bloodbath that can kind of feed into that fighting game aspect that this game really has it in spades. Also, Battle Royale kind of exacerbates the barrier to entry point that I had previously. New players, whenever they go up against someone more experienced in Naraka Bladepoint, the outplay potential is so big that better players almost always will come out on top of that, and that's not a bad thing. I think that's actually a really good thing. But the point is that in a Battle Royale mode, you have a potential of 60 players going in, both new and experienced, and 9 times out of 10, the newer player is going to lose out to the one person. Like 59 newer players are going to lose out to the one experienced player and just get trashed on most of the time. And I think that that is not a good thing for the new player experience unless they're just dead set on a Battle Royale mode if they're already interested in it. The thing with games like PUBG and Fortnite is that it's a shooter. Shooters typically have very, very low time to kill and very, very low instances of reacting to getting caught off guard or anything like that. So the outplay potential is a little bit lower, but it's a lot easier for newer players to get into because if you just see somebody who's not facing you, you can shoot them in the head twice and you get the kill for it. And there's no more effort other than that. So as far as Naraka is concerned, I don't think the Battle Royale mode works very well for the sort of outplay potential it has. I personally think it could see a lot of benefit from implementing an arena-style mode, which I've heard down the pipeline. If you look on the game mode section, there's this little icon in the bottom right that says coming soon. I think it says coming soon. I'm not looking at it as I'm recording, but anyway, apparently that's supposed to be some kind of 1v1 arena mode, kind of like a bracket format. Now, I don't know how true that is. I just saw this from someone translating stuff for an advertisement for the kind of mode. So hopefully it gets implemented, but honestly, I think that sort of mode would do wonders for Naraka, and I think even just marketing the game in that way, I think that could be the saving grace of players in the West. Now, in China, of course, they're there in high numbers. They love this game. They love the Battle Royale mode. So maybe you have the Battle Royale mode for them, and then the West is more interested in that arena mode. Just something to think about. All right, now problem number 5, the ranking system. Personally, I don't think it gives you enough rewards for kills, and that's basically the gist of it. Currently, the ranking system, at least from what I've heard, the benefit from getting kills cuts off at a total of 5, and if you're like slaying it in the ranked mode, if you're really going after it, getting 19 kills, but you're only getting rewarded for 5 of them, obviously that's a problem. Of course, it does reward placement a bit too heavily for me, which incentivizes going back to point number 4. It incentivizes ratting and hiding and third partying. It's not really a fun way to play in my perspective. And I think a lot of players, whenever they're getting into the game and they just finish a really hard fight and then get third-partied, it's a really bad system for them. And the fact that this is the only ranking system is in the Battle Royale mode, I think really rubs players the wrong way. And I think that can be fixed by simply implementing that arena mode we just talked about. Now, going into this last little problem, with the with ease, neck and neck, and quite challenging sort of ways that the game likes to balance its ranking system. Like if you're a gold player and you happen to get matched around silver players, personally, I don't mind that it rewards you less for going against lesser ranked people. But here's the problem, is that currently, from our first point with ping and VPN, anybody can play anywhere. And especially with these Chinese players on VPN, they've had more experience than us in North America and South America and Europe, to where they are much more skilled at the game than their rank might show. So let's say that they're ranked silver in NA, and they're on their VPN and I'm a gold player playing against them, I'm going to get less rank for playing against them, but they may have the skill of like an NA platinum player or something like that. So I think that that is a big problem in the current ranking system, and personally I would like to see the with ease, neck and neck, and quite challenging indicators just go away for right now until that first issue is fixed. Also, currently matchmaking at the top is pretty painful. The queue times are pretty long. Even myself, I'm not even in top 500 full disclosure, but I'm still getting like 6-minute queues, and the players at the top are getting really long queues. So that incentivizes them to make smurfs, which in the same way is going to badly affect ranked experience, especially if they're a lower rank than some of the newer players, and they keep exacerbating that problem with the ranking system. So personally, that's something that I hope changes. Alright guys, so that's it for the discussion of the 5 biggest problems that I see in Naraka Bladepoint. Please let me know anything that I missed in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed my incoherent rambling about this sorts of stuff, but we still have some things to talk about here right now. To answer the question of, is Naraka Bladepoint dying? Personally, I don't think so as of right now. Of course, if you look at Steam charts, the global player base has dropped a little since the record that we had in the past 2 weeks after Valda's released in mid-September, which honestly is expected, but so far the game does have a very good base in China, which is the game's home region, so I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon as a product on the market. However, I probably should be more specific and ask a different question. Is the game dying in the West, in regions like North America, Europe, and South America? Personally, my favorite metric to read this is the very bottom of this daily dip that we get from the Steam charts. The dip occurs at around 8 p.m. Eastern for the US, which is prime time for the region pretty much. Of course, that's not counting all the Chinese players who are also around on that time, so it's hard to tell for sure, but what I can say is that this number has been getting lower and lower as the days go on. For context, around the end of August, we were at around 20,000 at the lowest, and right now, as of recording, we're a little bit above 14,000 according to Steam charts. So, do I think that this game is going to be healthy enough to survive much longer in the West? If you were to ask me to be honest, I personally think it can, but the 5 things that I mentioned above need to be addressed, as those were the most pressing matters to most players in the West from what I've gathered. I really hope it does get to a better state in the West, especially with the VPN issue, because this is one of the most fun games that I've played in recent memory, and I think that the combat has a lot of potential to be really enjoyable for a lot of players. There are just a few things getting in the way, and to reiterate, I think that the arena mode that is rumored to be coming out really would do a lot of good for this game. Some of the most fun that I've had in Naraka Bladepoint is simply just hopping into 1v1 practice sessions with players in the community and just getting better at the game that way. The 1v1 experience in this game is some of the most fun that I've had in any game, and I think that Naraka Bladepoint, especially for the West, needs to capitalize on the success they found in the combat system and not so much on the Battle Royale mode, which at some times seems to counteract what the game actually does well. But anyway, there are just a few things getting in the way of this game. Hopefully it gets better, but if it does not, then I'll be the first to let you know, I guess. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more Naraka Bladepoint content. I've been OSK, y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.